can start. So, hello everyone. Thank you for coming at Drupal Dev Days and welcome to this session. A bit about myself, I'm Raffaele. I work with Drupal since 2011. I'm tech lead at Into, that is also social night sponsor of this event. I'm core contributor and maintainer of different country modules. Here you can find my Drupal.org profile with all my Drupal contributions and stuff. But let's introduce the agenda of this session. We'll start with an overview on the AI Content Migrate module, what it does and how to enable it. Then we'll see how it analyzes some legacy pages in its standard mode, the simplest mode. Automatically detects the structure using AI models and the AI core contrib module. And provides a Drupal content model, so content types, taxonomies, fields, media, and all this stuff. We'll see a practical demo of the interaction with the AI agent to refine the proposed content module, such as human in the loop. From there, we'll import content types, media, taxonomies, images using the content model suggested by the AI. We'll explore the module sitemap analysis mode. And then we'll take a closer look at the migrate API files generation and the new representative mode. And we share also the roadmap of the module and the future planning. Here you can see the Drupal.org page of the AI Content Migrate module. The strong dependencies of the module are AI agents and the AI core content module. You need also to use migrate and migrate plus. Inline entity form is a soft dependency of this module. You need also to use to install Chrome PHP Composer library to run Chrome in headless mode, so you can also analyze JavaScript rendered websites. It often happens that our clients ask us to migrate their legacy website to Drupal, and they want to make it secure due to existing security issues, or this is a common use case for us. So we need to migrate a lot of legacy pages, and sometimes multiple microsites, also similar between them. So we need often migrate legacy HTML to Drupal. And we keep repeating the same tasks. So we define content type, the field, importing taxonomies, importing media, also define the migrate API files, and spending time and budget on a mechanical work. This module, the idea behind this module is to provide an AI agent that analyzes legacy pages and automatically proposes a content model, handles the media and the taxonomy, and performs a migration generating migrate API files to populate these fields and to create the config entities. The module can also perform such as a dry run to validate the outcome and then execute the real migration via migrate API. The key elements of this module, basically the purpose is to provide an out-of-the-box tool to handle repetitive migration from legacy website to Drupal. It provides a standard AI agent that analyzes the legacy website. And it uses Chrome PHP to analyze JavaScript rendered pages and stuff like that. The value is that it reduces migration effort and cost by using AI only for high-level analysis. This is crucial because we don't use AI for each content, because if we are analyzing 1,000 of content, maybe the cost is very high. So this module uses AI only for high-level analysis and speeds up the delivery and ensures the consistency. The minimum version of the module is Drupal 10.6. So we need to install the AI contrib module and the AI agents contrib module. We need to configure the AI Drupal module with a provider like OpenAI or Gemini and stuff like that. The setup, though, is really simple. We can set up the module as any other Drupal module. we need to enable the AI agents module in this case. And of course, we enable the AI Content Migrate module. And we can find a new AI Content Migrate agent, like any other agent, under Home, Administration, Configuration AI agents. You also need to install the Chromium binary to analyze JavaScript-rendered websites. In this case, I've used the dev, so you can add the installation step to the web build folder so that PHP Chrome library can find and execute it. So let's start with the first demo with a simple mode. In this example, we're migrating some sample legacy website pages that are about tourism in Italy. So we want to import them from their old website to Drupal. So we can see two representative legacy pages. So we'll use as source, Positano and Etna. AI Content Migrate will suggest content type, fields, taxonomy, and media, and tries to identify the common patterns to use during the migration. So we're starting from a fresh Drupal install with no content. I've added two modules, AI Content Migrate and AI Agent. We go to configuration, AI agent settings, and Drupal shows the list of available agents. Oh, sorry. So we open the AI Agent Explorer and enter the prompt. Basically, this is simple. So analyze the following web page and report the identified elements. And we paste the URL of the Positano page we looked at earlier. For this demo, I'm using the Gemini basic model, so, but you can choose any supported model from the AI framework of Drupal. So we have two key outputs from this. That is the model proposal task, which shows the JSON of the content model identified by AI for this migration, and the final answer of the agent with a summary of the elements that it found on the page. It includes the proposed content types, fields, taxonomies, and medias. So here he identified one content type, 9 fields, taxonomies, and media bundles. This is the first UI. So. For each content type, each field is crucial because you have also the XPath that we'll see many times later. So. Here we focus on the suggested content model for this page. At the top, we can see the identified title, the short description, the image, the client, the year, and the role. Next to each field, you can see the XPath identified by AI. We also see an identified taxonomy with this project tags, that is branding, hospitality, and also the tags that are on the bottom. And also the media bundles. But if we don't like the proposed model, also in the simple model we can perform a model refinement. So basically you can go to Explore and you can write change model, make the subtitle required. We're gonna see it. So this is the model, but as the subtitle at the moment is required, if we prompt basically change the subtitle, change model, basically make the subtitle field optional, the model can change. This is the first simple version of this. So the change is reflected on the final answer, and we'll find the subtitle now is optional. This is simple interaction with an AI agent. Here we can see the content type generation in this step. So basically we've defined our model and we are going to import the data model in the simple mode. So we basically say, okay, you can perform the import. And it executes a simple import of the config entities, basically. You now can find the content types with the portfolio project, with the fields, and as we defined it, the subtitle is optional. In the edit, you can find that it's not required. So here we can have also an overview on the imported element. As you can see, it can populate image as file or as media, as you define it in the model. You can use the agent to change the defined model. In this case, it's a simple image. So here are the tags. But you can go to files. Yes, it imported the files and also the media. Okay. So let's have a fast focus on this prompt. This is the starting intent router for this AI agent. It reads the user prompt plus an optional existing JSON model and returns only a JSON with an action and the identified URL to scrape. So basically for analyze paragraph, analyze direct, and analyze sitemap or allow mode of this agent. So you can also import the content, have a bulk import for importing multiple content, also perform a dry run, and these are all the action of this model. This is the prompt. This is the second prompt. That is a simple content analysis that, given an HTML file, analyzes its structure and suggests a Drupal-ready content model. So it proposes content types, fields, taxonomy, media bundles, and for each field, one or more resilient XPaths. We recently added another set of boundaries to the hard rules of the prompt. So first, we make sure that the model suggests only valid Drupal field types. So we provided a list of the valid Drupal field types. Also, for the media bundles, the same principle applies. After, we try to propose always field machine names, short field machine names, basically under 22 characters. And every content tab must include a title. We have also the model proposal paragraphs prompt that it's similar, but it analyzes structure and suggests the paragraph. Basically, it enforces paragraphs first approach. So every distinct HTML block or component identified by the AI becomes a paragraph. So the key idea is that the Drupal AI agent calls the models only to define the content type structure and the metadata. So it retrieves XPath and performs the migration without calling the AI model for each content. We can also perform a bulk import of multiple content. Also this is a simple mode. So you can provide multiple URL basically, and it will create a Drupal queue to import them. It calculates the model, save the object into the queue, and then run as any other Drupal queue. So you can import also multiple content in this case. So when you write OK, you can import. He knows that there are multiple URLs and creates a queue, basically. So running the standard Drupal cron, it will import multiple content into Drupal. So yeah, we go to configuration, cron, run the cron, and it will import the content. Positano. Content. You can also execute the migration in dry run mode to identify problems before of the execution. In this case, the initial prompt is identified from the LLM router as dry run import, as we saw in the prompt. So we analyze, we get the model, and we say, okay, you can perform a dry run import. Or we find always the model. And we say, okay, you can perform a dry run import. Yes. And we can, here we can identify critical error provided by the system. So in late November 2025, we introduced the new sitemap mode that starts from the analysis of an existing website sitemap. So it reads a legacy sitemap XML and builds the list of URL to analyze. It runs AI only on the first page, proposes common XPaths, and tries to find clusters of content. So instead of running the model and paying to analyze every single page, this is the concept behind of this model, we use AI once on the first URL, basically, on a representative first URL. From that single page, the agent proposes common XPath mappings for things like the main fields, so the title, the body, the media, taxonomy, and all other identified fields. And it detects clusters, so basically groups of pages that share the same template or the same structure, like articles and other content types. So it performs an iteration across the URL. So for each URL, we first try to match the existing cluster model. If the XPaths still match, and you can have a set of XPaths that are not matching, but there is a threshold, basically. So the page looks familiar, looks similar. We don't call the AI, and no extra cost and faster execution. So if we hit a new structure, we call the AI again to refine the model or create a new cluster of content. So we create the cluster once, but we reuse it many times. So the result is a reliable coverage of the sitemap with minimal AI spend. On this slide, you can find an activity diagram of the process. So the flow starts at the top by reading the sitemap and building our URL block backlog, basically. So we fetch the very first page, as I told before, and only once, and we run the AI model to propose XPath mappings. So for all the field, title, body, media, and all the stuff. So that gives us an initial cluster. From there, we have a loop over the rest of the URLs. So that's the second demo time. Here we can find 2 instances of a sample legacy HTML file. Basically, on the left, we got a legacy article with some badges, an author, 2 illustrative images, and an overview text. And on the right, you can find a simple product, basically, are similar, but the products has an SKU, a brand, and other fields. So this is the sitemap instance that we're using for this demo. So it basically has 5 products and 5 articles, a very simple sitemap. And demo time. Okay, so as before, we're always in the explore section of the AI Content Migrate agent. But we start by entering, okay, analyze the following sitemap. And we paste the URL of the sitemap, obviously. So when we click on Run Agent, and then review the output. So this is the router call. The action, the identified action is the analyze sitemap, as we saw. This is the first model proposal call. Basically, it has identified the first cluster that I was talking before, the cluster of product. So with that in mind, it iterates through all other URLs in the sitemap without making additional AI calls. And this is the second call for the article. Basically, we got one call for the products and one call for the articles, not 10 calls for 10 elements of the sitemap. And this is a very improvement. So on the left, we can see the legacy product page, and on the right, the AI suggested Drupal module. We have a title, a short description, and a price. This is a product. And here is the article, so the second cluster that it has identified during the sitemap analysis. And here he identified the title, an author, publication date, and also description and text. It also has identified a taxonomy. This is the article category cycling on the top, basically. So we go to the import phase. We have created, we have our first analysis of the sitemap. So we go to the import phase, and we start from the detected cluster. And for each cluster, the module generates one node migration plus the shared file migration and the media migration, but we'll see everything. So everything will be packaged as a migrate API zip. So we start from the model that we generated earlier, and we say, okay, you can perform the import, basically, all other commands to say, okay, you can go and import. So once it receives the import signal, the AI agent does two things. It detects that there are multiple pieces of content and that the source is a sitemap. So he creates an AI import entities that is a content entities that represents the model. And if you select the generated entity, and you can download the migration YAML, basically. So you can download here the file. Here we will see the migration files. So if you open the folder, as I've told before, we have one file for the article, one file for the product, one file for the media of our migration, and one file for the files, basically. There are. Yeah, here we have all the URLs of our sitemap, basically. So let me stop it. Okay. So we use the Migrate Plus plugins. Also, for each spot we have a selector, basically. So a DOM select plugin call. So this is the folder that is generated. The names include a timestamp, so each bundle basically is unique. And we use migration lookup to link back to the file migration. This is for the taxonomy terms that are handled within the content type migration. You didn't see a file of the taxonomy because it's handled inside the content type migration with the entity generate plugin from Migrate Plus, which performs the lookup and creates the taxonomy term if it doesn't already exist, basically. So the media migration, as you can see on the bottom, is added as a dependency of the content type migration. So we can basically simply run the migration as any other content migrate. So I go inside the container using the dev SSH, and once inside, we import the new migrate entities by running rushgym on our folder. Yes, it's We use as source our folder, the generated folder. It creates the migrate plus entity. Then we can see them with migrate status, drush ms. And we execute drush mim for the default migration group to run the migration in the correct order, and ensuring that all dependencies are properly resolved. So we run drush mim group default. In case any issue occurs during the execution, we can perform a clean rollback using the migrate API. So we already have our rollback system. In February 2026, we introduced the representative mode, that is another feature of this agent. So we can make AI assistant, the content migration more testable. So the idea behind this feature is simple. Instead of treating AI generation, the extraction logic of the model as a black box, we expose it as a reviewable process. So this is important because the target persona that will use this mode is a developer, because you need to know what an XPath is, basically. And while in sitemap mode, the clusters were automatically identified by the module, the system was the only responsible. In this, the representative mode, we take a different approach. We have a stronger human in the loop, basically. But during the prompting phase, the AI identifies the extraction patterns, but rather than applying them immediately, we create an intermediate entity that is called the AI Content XPath map. So from a workflow perspective, that gives us a few important benefits. So it improves reliability because mappings can be tested before the execution. So here we can find a demo of the representative mode. Here we want to migrate a simple blog post, this one with the chicken. We want to migrate this blog post. We directly insert the URL. So just on this. Okay. Oh, sorry. So we want to provide, this is an info that we give to the user. We're trying to make a better UI. But you need to find the fully loaded example, basically with all the variants included. So once that we inserted the URL, we can run the first analysis. And he says, okay, AI requires your intervention. And here we can find the human in the loop, basically. Here we have a similar interface that we saw before, but in a pop-up. That here we can review. We can use the prompt to change. We can change basically if a field is required or not, or the cardinality of the field, or the name of the field, what we want. In this case, we basically import as is, but it's the same as before. You have an agent that you can change the model. So once that the first analysis is done, you need to check the proposed model and continue with the migration. So the last action that we find on the right bottom is in charge of the human, basically. So he can review, test the cluster and the migration. So we go to our intermediate entity that we've developed. That is the AI Content XPath map. So we have for each field we have the name, the type. For entity reference, we can also change destination entity type and stuff like that, and also a list of XPath. And we can test them before the generation of the migrate API files. In this case, no one works, so we need to change the AI didn't suggest very right. So we need to change the second here, and we click on test XPath, and here we have that now we have an XPath that works. So we have our control on this. So the same also for the other fields, for post date. Post date it works, so we can also remove an XPath and define our map. We can use our capabilities to define our map. So we have all the fields identified, basically the body and also the other fields. We want to focus on the image that is, in this case, is an entity reference to an image file. And none of this works. Basically, none of these XPaths suggested works. So we can do test XPath, and basically it says nothing. So we need to change the XPath to use the src attribute, so it can, because on how the migration works, you need to retrieve the src, the URL, so it can download and create the file inside Drupal. And the same also for the other fields. So as before, you can download the file with the zip file with all the migration inside. Here we have just a blog post and the media and the file migration. So we can run the migration as any other migrate API migration with drush.ms, drush.meme, and it will create a first version of our blog post. So we have the date, the body, and the chicken image. So just one recap. So the table outlines the different operation modes of this module that are designed for different use cases and target personas. So we saw the simple mode in the start. We saw the sitemap and the representative. The simple paragraph mode is the first mode introduced, and it represents the most simple and atomic approach. Basically, it analyzes individual pages. You can generate pages or paragraphs, and you can use for fragmented migrations, for a microsite or stuff like that. The sitemap introduces a more systemic perspective. It starts from a structured sitemap and generates the content clusters accordingly. So this mode is well suited for full site migrations or for websites that have a very nice sitemap. So. And the representative mode is designed for developers and advanced use cases. So it leverages a rich content sample to generate the first cluster, and you can validate the content model through strong human interaction. So this approach is ideal for the complex architectures. This module works very well with another module that is Augmented AI, that is another contrib module we used in practical use cases. So it lets us connect different AI services and run AI augment auctions on the content. So AI Content Migrate handles the structure and the first import via sitemap or XPath and other stuff. But if a field isn't matched or is empty, then AI Augmenter can fill the gap after, basically. So that's the actual roadmap of the module. First of all, we want to do a documentation on Drupal.org and create the first version of the tests. We're going to provide multilingual support. There's already a development branch for this. At the moment, this module is compatible with AI agents 2.0, 2.x, and we want to introduce the database source and all other sources so that this module is basically the entry point for generate migrate API files with AI. And we want to also to give a better UI and a better sitemap AI assisted scan to estimate volumes and also before running the migration. Also, a nice idea is a visual refinement of the module, so you have a better UI than this. And so it's easier also to use in Drupal CMS or for other site builders scenario. And that's all. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
That looks amazing.
Okay.
One thought I had, obviously you've got the prompt box and you're pasting stuff in to kind of run the prompts. And I wondered if there was any thoughts of having maybe suggested prompts so that you don't have to kind of rewrite the prompts each time and maybe forget if you're running a couple of migrations and stuff. And one initial thought I had was the kind of the workflow that the token module uses, where you can drop down stuff, maybe select something and it'll paste the prompt in, especially if it's, have a look at the sitemap, and then you can tweak it and run it.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a nice idea. Yeah. Also, providing autocomplete here is a very nice idea for the UI that we're trying to make it better. So.
Yeah. My initial thought was, oh God, I need to rewatch your video so I can grab the prompts that obviously work very well.
A list of prompts.
Yeah, because I think one of the things about AI is prompt generation is difficult, and you do refine it. So if you kind of find something that works, you can reuse that prompt, and if you could even just save your prompts, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point.
Thank you for your talk first. And I have a question. While model building, you always reference the single URL to the model, to the LLM. How do you deal when handling like content variations, like, for example, product variations inside a shop? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, you need to provide more of them. Basically, we deal with it in multiple scenarios. Basically, also in the sitemap scenarios that you saw. Basically, when you encounter a variation of the product, you need to refine the model. Basically, so you need add this field. Basically, there is another color field. Basically, and so the first identified model by AI is refined. It's refined and changed.
So you're using an iteration approach to it.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Got there. Thank you for your talk. A couple of questions around more complex migrations, and if you see this kind of approach going into even creating custom process operations for like source, or even like just the process, like just the plugin, or identifying business cases, like business scenarios where obviously where there's a pattern or an existing pattern on the destination Drupal site. And sub-question, I guess, if there are like any ways of restricting, for example, the model to use only existing taxonomies and trying to get, the closest to an existing taxonomy. Because you would have clients, for example, that don't want to manage more or find it difficult, for example, to manage. I mean, we have this also with content generated on, by AI in
Yeah. You for the taxonomy at the moment, the model checks if an existing taxonomy is on the destination portal, and if an existing taxonomy exists already, so it doesn't create the term. It basically uses the already existing term. It could be also an option, a configuration option, so maybe you can deal better with pre-existing content. Basically, this is a good idea.
Thank you very much.